Welcome to UK Business Show, UK's premier business show where we feature business thought leaders, high achievers, and industry experts. Today's episode is brought to you by World Outsourcing Solutions Limited, a company that specializes in helping executive business owners with virtual assistant services and business growth systems. Here's your host.
Hi everyone and welcome to the show. It's Trevor Stockwell here, and my co-host for today is someone that you know very well, Mr. Yokai Kajidori. Hi Yokai.
Hey, thanks, man. It's so good to be here. And I can't wait to have this conversation because Cody, gosh, is a go-getter. You know, he's just helping entrepreneurs left, right, and center and making things happen. So if you are tuning in for the first time, you're in the right place because you're going to discover how you can do better from where you're doing. If you're doing better, you can speed the whole process and do even more than what you're doing. And Cody, absolute pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much. It's a privilege to be here. So thank you, Kai and Trevor, for having me on.
I know you're joining us. It's really early there in Sydney, Australia. It's 6 o'clock right there, isn't it?
6 a.m. it is, yes, that's correct.
And you've got these amazing seasons, don't you, that you have here? It's cold. Tell us what it's like.
Yeah, I was just saying we got 4 seasons here: early summer, midsummer, late summer, and next summer.
You know how envious I am right now because you're from here in England, aren't you? So you know exactly what we're experiencing here.
I sure do.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Good to have you on the show, totally. Trevor, to you.
Absolutely. So just let me just share a bit of background first, and then you can kind of dig into that a little bit more. For those that maybe don't know you yet, you're one of the world's leading experts on small business and marketing and business growth, and also a best-selling author of a couple of books, Got Attitude and the 90-Day Marketing Plan. Cody's been featured on Fox, ABC, and NBC, and also you consult for multinational corporations, sports stars, and marketing celebrities. So yeah, there's quite a broad spectrum of people that you manage to influence. So well done. We're interested in digging into getting to know you a bit better and learning a lot from your expertise to help businesses. So maybe just elaborate a little bit further then on the background, education, experience. How did you get to the point where you're able to be so effective with business owners?
Yeah, so I'm fortunate enough to not really have much of a formal education. I think it's a real blessing. It's I have nothing against formal education, but I think learning in the school of hard knocks is the way to do it. It's just getting out and getting your hands dirty and just getting started and spending your own money is the best way to do anything, really. So I got started very, very early on. It's like I realized that if I wanted more from life, I was gonna have to do more. I think I was 11 years old, and I remember looking at a bicycle. I still remember it now. It was a Rally Pro Kellogg Pro Tour racing bike or something like that. And it was like 200 pounds, and my pocket money was 100 pounds a week. So that's 200 weeks at spending nothing. And for an 11-year-old, that may as well be 50 years. So I figured out if I wanted this bike, I was going to have to do something different to get it. So I grabbed a bucket and a sponge and started knocking on people's doors and saying, hey, I'll wash your car for £5. And then I started cutting their grass, and there's some other stuff. And before you know it, I got the bike, and I realized at that point that, yeah, you can have a lot more in life. And if you want a lot more in life, you can get that by being an entrepreneur. So that's kind of where I started out. I went on from there to made some attempts at formal education. I just wasn't very good at it, really, to be honest with you. It wasn't really for me. Went into a number of different businesses, bought a restaurant, had a small construction company, life coaching business, all with varying degrees of success. Nothing really spectacular to start with. It wasn't until later on where I really figured out the marketing piece, to where I really started to get the kind of success that I see today.
Yes, yeah. You have an interesting story because even though you were an entrepreneur for some time, you were not getting the real success that you wanted, and you were going through the law of attraction time, which was incredible. Believe in that. But you were not getting the success you thought you would get. And then, of course, a young lady appeared. At the time living here in UK. Tell us the story about that, because I think it's fascinating and it helps somebody.
Yeah, well, it's funny, isn't it? A woman will make a man do things he ordinarily wouldn't do, and the thing,
you nailed it.
the thing that I did in this situation that I ordinarily wouldn't do was get a job, which ironically for an entrepreneur, getting a job is like you may as well just sentence them to a life in prison. You can't put somebody back in a cage who's been in the jungle for a while, right? So what happened was my wife's Australian and we were living in the UK, and her visa came to an end. Her visa expired, and we wanted to get married. So we applied for a marriage visa, and the government turned us down. They said, no, you're not getting married because you have no income. Yes. Taxpayers are going to end up having to pay for it, and that's not going to happen. So I threw a little fit, but of course they were absolutely right. I think I made $9,000 total that year, and I was into the law of attraction and positive thinking and affirmations, and if you can believe it, you can achieve it, and if you want to be wealthy, act wealthy, and all of that kind of stuff. And the reality was, I was just lying to myself. It was all lies. I was telling myself I was wealthy, I was broke. I was telling myself I was successful, and I was a failure. I was telling myself all of these things, and the situation with the visa just really forced me to face reality. I could no longer hide in all of those, deceitful thoughts that, and don't get me wrong, it's like all of that stuff is valid. It just needs there's some minor refinements to those philosophies, which we can talk about, which will make a huge difference. But the reality was I was forced to get a job to provide an income, and I got a job at a marketing agency. It's what I did.
It's amazing. That experience really led you to learn more of where money really is. And by just moving to the marketing aspect of it, really, sort of moved you to where you are today. So, again, you were guided in all that. It looks like it was right, but all worked out. Tell us more how, where did you actually get to be sort of like the light bulb moment, that moved you from not having enough to actually having more than enough, because you went from 9,000 to over $187,000 right, in 1 year. Incredible.
That's right.
Without robbing a bank.
Yeah, sorry. Without robbing a bank.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, as entrepreneurs, we're not lazy people as entrepreneurs. It's like I don't think I've really spoken to anybody who's lazy that doesn't put the effort and the time in. And it's minor refinements of philosophy that make the difference. So you can be 99% of the way there, but a minor error in your philosophy will prevent you from getting the result. So it's little things that I learned from, I'd always been told, if you want to make more, find a way to add more value. Add value to the marketplace, which is very true. But the minor refinement to that philosophy, which will change your world, is it's not find a way to add more value to the marketplace. It's find a way to add more value to valuable people. You can add massive amounts of value to organizations or people that can't reward you for that. You've got to find a way to add value to valuable people. And don't get me wrong, I'm all about charity and stuff like that. But there are places for that. We're talking about the marketplace and the business world, right? So if you can take the value that you're offering, which for most people is massive, and just shift that slightly to who you're giving that value to, that will change your world. That will change your results. Yeah. So it's just little refinements of philosophy like that. It's understanding that marketing is the money part of your business. Marketing is kind of a dirty word for most people. They don't like it. They find it crude and vulgar. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's the money part of your business. Great marketing equals great money. No marketing equals no money, and the scale is everything in between. If you want to have a great income, you've got to become great at marketing. And what the marketing agency showed me was that was the missing piece of my business. I had a great product. I offered value. I wanted to help people. Everything that I thought that I needed to succeed was there. I just needed those minor refinements in my philosophy, and that once I got those, the income really exploded.
Yeah. Incredible. That's incredible. Maybe
It's
we
really good.
jump, Trevor, after you.
I was just thinking about the position you were in. I was sort of going back to where you were, kind of. You had this issue where you wanted to get married, you couldn't get the visa, you couldn't get the sort of permission to do it because you needed a job. And it sounds, listening to what you were saying, it sounds like you took what could have been a stumbling block and you kind of made it a stepping stone, and you used being in a marketing role, although as an employee, not an entrepreneur. You didn't kind of buckle and just, conform to the system, if you like, and become a number in a big corporation, but you kept the entrepreneurial kind of spirit alive. You learned stuff while you were there, which then equipped you to then kind of springboard from that into developing your way of adding value, but to valuable people, as you say. So yes, much kudos to you for the courage to do that, and for not buckling under the pressure of expectations of other people and regulations and things like that. So yeah, I think we can learn a lot just from that, to not quit during the hard time.
I think too, Trevor, it's like we ask ourselves, like, whether you believe in God or the universe or serendipity or whatever you want to call it, right? It's like you say, I want this outcome, I'm asking for this outcome, but then you manage the process. It's like, I want this outcome and I want it to happen this way, and I want these steps to happen, and I want it to happen on this time frame. And it's like, what needed to happen with me was I needed education. There was parts of my philosophy that were not there or underdeveloped. There were skill sets that were not there or underdeveloped, and I was never going to get to where I wanted to be without those skills. And the only way I was really going to get those skills was to actually go into the workforce. And since then I've taken several jobs to learn, basically, but as a volunteer and temporary jobs and stuff like that, because going in, working for somebody who has what it is that you want, I've learned, is one of the best ways that you can actually get the skills that you're looking for. And my brother wanted to open a restaurant with me one time, and he was going to finance it and stuff. And I said, hey, go work in a restaurant for a year. And if you still want to do it after that, we'll do it. We didn't ever open the restaurant.
Yeah. Amazing.
That's good advice. Yeah.
Amazing. Wait, maybe we can talk about one of the things you're passionate about, Cody, here, which is more about profiling, profiling and retaining prospective clients. This is something you're passionate about. Would you really maybe describe what you mean by profiling or profiling your customers for our audience?
Yeah. So again, it comes down to the initial philosophy is like to add value to valuable people, and another great thing I think as entrepreneurs, the thing that we need to develop as well is influence, right? We have to be, the more influential we are, the more successful we are as well. It's like we need other people to help us. We can't do it by ourselves, and that was really a big revelation for me as well. It's like, I can't do this by myself. I need help. So in order to get that help, I need to become influential. I need to be able to influence people to help me. And again, it's that same refinement of philosophy, right? It's like, it's not enough, I can work on my influence, but I need to become influential with influential people. That there's no point I can have all the influence in the world with somebody who has no ability to help me. And it doesn't matter. I can ask you for £100, Trevor, and if you don't have it, you can't give it to me no matter how badly you want to. So it's understanding that philosophy there and applying that to customers as well. It's like, not all customers are equal. Not all customers have the same value to you and your business. And it's like, there are certain customers that are going to be more valuable. There are certain prospects that are going to be more valuable. And it's understanding, those philosophers, you have to develop influence. You have to give more value. It's like figuring out who are your most valuable prospects, who are your most influential prospects, who are these people. So, I'll give you an example. It's understanding. I call it prioritization of expenditure.
Right.
So you need to figure out what prospects have prioritized expenditure on your product. So let me give you a tangible example of that to show you. So I've worked with lots of dental implant dentists in the past, and you can take two identical prospects, right? You can take, a woman who's 45, or two women who's 45. One of them's got 3 kids, a husband, a family, and the other one's single. They both have dental problems. They both want dental implants. The dental implant is, say, $15,000. Well, let's look at these two people. If the 45-year-old woman who is a mother of 3 has $15,000 left over at the end of the year, where is she going to prioritize that expenditure? Is she going to prioritize it on herself, or is she going to prioritize it on her family?
Yeah.
The need is there, the desire is there, the interest is there. Everything is seemingly there that makes this person a good prospect. But let's look at the other woman. She's 45 years old and she's single. And maybe she's looking for love. Maybe she's looking for her soulmate, and she sees her dental problems as a stumbling block to achieving that. So her heart's desire. So your product is the solution for her to get her heart's desire. So one of the things that we did was started advertising on dating sites.
Right.
Exclusively on dating sites. So we would advertise to women over the age of 45 on dating sites. Right. And the conversion rate was actually 20 times higher. The number of people that booked in for a consultation was exactly the same. The interest was the same on both sides, but the number of people that actually turned into a client was 20 times higher on the dating sites, because that we had identified that they would prioritize that expenditure in their life, and then by profiling them and understanding who they are, what their bigger desires are that your product or service helps them achieve, we can then put that product in front of them at the right place. So that's a good example of profiling a client, so you understand. And obviously we can add more value. We can add more value to the 45-year-old woman who's single there. She's a more valuable person to the business.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it's a very good example. So what would sort of business owners that are listening to this and they're hearing what you're saying, and what would be kind of the first step? So if they suddenly have an aha moment and go, yeah, Cody's right, I've not really done that, what would be the first kind of step you'd suggest them take towards profiling the valuable customers?
So the first place is to start with have a look at your business and do an 80-20 analysis. So the vast majority of your revenue is going to be coming from 20% of your customers. The vast majority of your customers are going to be coming from one lead generation stream, so on and so forth. So the best thing is just to have a look at your existing customer base and see who are the best customers, where's the revenue coming from, and what do these people have in common. Is there any? You'll start to see commonalities within them. There'll be certain things. There'll be certain age. They'll be from certain locations. They'll have certain interests. They'll be buying certain products. So, and this is going to work across every aspect of your business. Really, it's like 80% of your sales is going to come from 20% of your customers. 80% of your sales are going to come from 20% of your products. 80% of your sales are going to come from 20% of your salespeople. 80% of your sales are going to come from 20% of your lead generation channels. So really figuring out, just doing initial sort of SWOT analysis, really, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, and see where's my current revenue coming from? Who are my best clients? That's the easiest place to start. That's going to give you some real insight into where that revenue's coming from, or where you can start, and then survey them. Ask your customers. I mean, the thing that's really helped me grow is I've always been very customer centric. I've always let the customer determine the direction of the business.
Awesome.
I've never been attached to my products, to my services, to the way that I deliver them, to what it is that I want to do. I've always allowed my customers to direct that, and I've been very open and I welcome feedback. And very rarely does a product end up where I think it was going to.
Yeah.
Your existing customer base will tell you what they value, and most entrepreneurs fight that tooth and nail, and they go, no, you're not going to get what you want. You're going to get what I want to give you. And it's like, well, there's a recipe.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. It's a smart way of doing it. Cody, are there any tools that perhaps you've come across that you can use really for those people who are looking to take this very first step which Trevor was talking about, or maybe websites that it can help people, do this well, do this right this time.
So in terms of profiling customers and finding this information out.
Yeah.
So I mean, SurveyMonkey is a good place to start. So simply, people are afraid to ask generally because they might not like the answer.
Yes.
So it's like, you say, hey, people won't ask, hey, was I a great podcast guest, or what could I have done better? We can debrief at the end of this round and say, okay, well, where did I go wrong? Where did I lose you guys? What could I like? People don't really ask those questions because they might not like the answers. You might go, you sucked. But people won't ask, they won't go to their customers or client base and say, hey, where could we be better? Where could we be doing this better? Where would you like to see us go? Because they're afraid of the answer. It's like, well, what if it, kicks the bear? What if it wakes the bear up and it triggers refunds? Or what if it brings in complaints and stuff like that? That's why people won't do it. But somewhere like SurveyMonkey, just a couple of basic questions. Are you happy with the service we provide you? That's a good place to start, right? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to come up with that question. Are you happy with the service that we provide you? If the answer is no, then you've got massive opportunity within your business.
Yes.
If the answer is yes, then the next question is, well, that's great. What could we do to make it even better?
Definitely. So
just simple questions. How do you find our customer service? How do you find our delivery mechanisms? Whatever that might be. Whatever it is with your business. Just 3 or 4 or 5 questions that you can send out via SurveyMonkey is going to be a great place to start to get in touch with your audience and your database, basically.
Yeah. I mean,
that's really good. It's very practical, and it's kind of like, we've all got time to do 3 questions, haven't we? If you said, I've got a 200 questionnaire that I want to send out, that's a different ball game. But 2 or 3 questions is gets right to the point. So that's really useful. Thank you.
And I think understanding too is like, it's very unlikely what's going on inside of your business, to be honest. It's like they say only 1 in 14 people, only 1 in 7 people will actually complain. Only 1 in 7 people will actually complain. I remember working with the business and I was just kind of like mingling and doing the mystery shopper thing. And it was a restaurant, and they were seeing how little food they could put on the plate and get away with. And I was just walking around the dining room, and I heard the staff in the back, and they were like, we got away with like 7 chips on that plate. and I was just kind of mingling around the dining room, and I could hear the people saying, man, this is really bad. Man, this is like, there's no food on this plate. This is really terrible. Nobody complained, so they thought that they got away with it, right? But the statistics show that each one, for every 1 complaint, there are 7 people that didn't complain. And for every 7, and each of those 7 people will tell on average 14 people how bad that experience was. So that there's massive amounts of bad will going out into the marketplace, and that business had no idea whatsoever. If they'd have just stopped people at the door and said, hey, honestly, what did you think? Or anonymous survey, they would have known that they were doing a terrible job. But you've got everyone in the back going, hey, look, we've just saved the company a bunch of money. It's like, no, you haven't. You've just killed this company is what you've done.
Because even if being a Brit, I understand the hesitancy to complain publicly. It's something that we have to kind of overcome. But would I go back to a restaurant like that? No. And you're right. You tell all your friends that there's better places to go. If it was the only restaurant in town, maybe they might get away with it slightly longer. But nowadays there's so many options out there that's a really valid point.
You've got to know what's going on. You've got to know how your customers feel.
Yeah.
Once you've done that very first part of profiling, what would you suggest is the next best move? Maybe the second step, in your opinion?
So for some quick wins, for some cash flow and some cash coming into the business, your reactivation campaign is great. So find everybody who you've been in contact with in the last 2 years, really. It can be a shoebox full of business cards if you're networking. It can be an email list. It can be a customer database, and just email that database out with an email that basically says, hey, are you still interested in X? So if it's like, for example, if you guys wanted people on your podcast, I'm sure you've had lots of people reach out over the past 2 years. If you sent an email out that said, hey Cody, are you still interested in being a podcast guest on our show? You'd have a lot of people respond to that.
Oh, totally. We've done it.
It's
Yes.
And I'll give you, a tangible example. Like there's a gym I was working with just down the road, actually, and we sent out an email that just said, hey, Trevor, you still interested in losing a few kilos and looking great for the summer? Let me know. That's it. So there were 3,000 people on that list, and they were non-current members. So they're people that had inquired and not joined, or they would, they'd been members and they canceled. They were non-current members, but somehow interacted with that gym at some point in the last 2 years. That one email, hey Trevor, you still interested in losing a few kilos and looking great for the summer? $54,000 that produced.
Nice. Yeah. I think like a lot of the time we can misinterpret a no for a not now.
That's exactly right. Yeah, you're right. We're just leaving, business to somebody else to come and kind of take on board instead of us. So yeah, eat your lunch for you.
Yeah.
So if we look at the statistics, I mean, it's good to know. Again, knowing how things work is a great place to start to improve the situation. So 50% of people who inquire about a product will purchase that product at some point in the next 18 months. Maybe not from you, but they'll purchase that product in the next 18 months. Only 15% will make that purchase in the next 90 days. So if you don't have some kind of process in place that re-engage or keeps engaged and re-engages those prospects from 90 days to 18 months, you're literally leaving 80% of the money on the table. You're literally, it's like, if you think about it, if you go to a carpet shop to get new carpet for your house, you may not buy it that day, but if you've gone to a carpet shop, you're probably going to buy carpet at some point in the future, right? Yeah. You don't just go to your wife on a Sunday afternoon, hey, let's go to the carpet shop and check out some new rugs.
Yeah.
And you're exactly right. I mean, it's one of my favorite phrases is people misinterpret no. They think that no means no, when actually it means not right now.
Yeah.
Do you want to sign up with me today? No, I don't. It's like, well, that just means not right now. I don't want to sign up right now.
Yeah. No, that's key. That's really practical.
Yeah. Well, Cody, as we're coming towards the end of our time here together, I know there will be people who really want to further their learning with you. Where can they find you?
So my website's codybutler.com. That's kind of a hub of information there. You'll pretty much find everything I'm doing there for sure. If you're interested in the book, the 90-day marketing plan.biz, or you can get that at Amazon. And if you're interested in just some more information, zeroadspendclients.com is another good place to check out and have a look, see what you share some good information there.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And we will put a link below this podcast as well, so that, if you want to just go straight to the website, just click that link up below. Cody, I always want to finish with asking a personal question. You're a business owner. You're talking to another business owner, perhaps, who is struggling. What keeps you going, when you're facing roadblocks one after the other, or maybe when the terrain is not as clear as we all want it to be?
Yeah, it's very cliche, but I mean, you've got to have a why that's bigger than you. Yeah. If you don't have, I've always had a reason to do things that go beyond myself. It's like, just to start with, I wanted to provide for my parents, and then it becomes provider for my family. And then it becomes, that expands out as you become more successful. You can help more people. So it's got to be your reason for doing it has to be bigger than you. There's no question about that. You have to be doing it for someone or something, a bigger cause, bigger than yourself. Otherwise, it's just too difficult. It's like being an entrepreneur. It's not an easy path to take, and it's, as you rightly say, there are going to be roadblocks, there are going to be challenges, and if it's just about you, then there are easier paths to take. And I think, one of the questions that I ask myself every single morning before I start working is who needs me to show up with my A game today?
Well said. Man.
That's good. Yeah.
Who needs me to show up with my A game today? Because it's like, I can be self-loathing and self-abusive and stuff like that, but it's like there are other people that's not going to be acceptable for. It's like there are people that it's not acceptable for me to behave that way. There are people that need my A game today. So I always ask that question. I write it down on a piece of paper. Who needs me to show up suited and booted with my A game today? And that's what gets me through the day.
Wow, incredible. Absolutely incredible. Well, Cody, it's been absolute joy having you on the show, and certainly we would love to have you on another episode talk about the 90-day marketing plan, which you have told us where to find it, but hearing it from you, and I know people would love that so much. And thank you for being here with us, Cody.
Thank you so much for having me on, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes. There you have it, guys. So much fun having Cody here, and I hope you've taken some notes, just like I've been doing here. Look, business is not meant to be done alone. If you are pursuing your goals, and it is this conversation that can spur you into greatness, and I know you're doing something there. So thank you for joining us, and I can't wait to spend another quality time with you on another very special episode. And if you've got any questions, head over to the group there, drop us an email or do something. We will be there to support you. With that said, have a great day. And Trevor, thanks for being here on the show with me as always. And thanks. Okay, goodbye for now, guys.
Thank you for listening to UK Business Show. We will be back to bring you more episodes with success stories and advice straight from the experts. Want more? Check out www.ukbusinessshow.com. Get your free trial of our virtual assistant service today. Just visit www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com. Quote WOS18 or send us an email at support@worldoutsourcingsolutions.com.